Steve, if we start with you, in terms of the question is, what does the future of gardening look like? And I'm just going to add on, in an urban setting.
Yeah, well, a big passion for me is kind of what do we do now, rather than looking at this. It's either, it seems like it's absolute doom. The more we look on our phones, all the things we hear, climate change, all of these narratives, AI now is another one. It's either that or this intangible vision of like a green future where it's a utopia. My whole thing is, what do we do now? And I guess from my background, I started off with no gardening experience. I fell into horticulture in my late 20s, a very wayward 20s, as many people have. And I think a lot of people find their way into horticulture kind of wanting a bit of grounding. And I definitely had that in my mid-20s, I was very lost. I did an art degree, sort of spat out the back end of that, and then travelled. Didn't really know what I was doing. Felt like I had something to say with what I was doing with my old artwork about humans' connection with nature. But I'd lost the kind of vehicle for it. And I think I started thinking about being quite depressed and no aim. And I started exercising and being outside. And I actually just thought pragmatically, for once, what can I do in a modern way to make money, be healthy? And I just thought gardening was the one. And there was one afternoon, I've told this story a million times. There was one afternoon, I was cutting my grandmother's hedge, and a woman walked past, and she asked me if I did it professionally, and I didn't. I just said I did. And from then, I was cutting everyone's hedge, mowing everyone's lawn on that street, and then I was all over Derby. I'm from Derby originally. All over Derby doing a maintenance round. It was very much maintenance because I was painting houses and all sorts of stuff. It wasn't gardening. Well, there's only so many ways I could deflect from the questions about plants because I didn't have a clue what the answers were. So I thought I'll go back and I'll train in horticulture. And I thought I'd really drag myself to it. I thought I'll do 1 day a week, plantsmanship. I'll do 1 day a week. And I went for my interview and I just saw all the modules and I thought, plant and soil science. I'd have hated that at school, but I could see how I could apply it. There was landscaping modules, design modules. I was there for 3 years in the end. Did a full level 3 in horticulture. And it opened up the whole industry to me. And from then on, I just found a real passion for it. But it was only then when I studied design specifically that I had this epiphany moment of all the stuff I used to look at when I was a kid. I spent most of my youth in like abandoned spaces and exploring cities, which I didn't really think at the time, but that was definitely my nature connection, exploring my surroundings in an urban context. It was no different me exploring a burnt-out car than it was climbing a tree. It was exactly the same experience. So when I did my design diploma, I kind of connected the dots thinking, I saw loads of practitioners looking at nature for inspiration and bringing it into a garden context of how plants associate with each other. And I thought, well, I've got something unique to say here. I think the city is wild. I think there's loads, and you know, this whole perception that humans are different from nature. You can see nature is present in the cities are natural to me. And you can see that present in abandoned spaces and areas we neglect. You can see nature coming back. And I really get excited by that marriage between the built environment and nature. We don't really have the language to describe anything else. So my vision is not really this intangible future. It's seeing the beauty all around us already and embracing that, taking the inspiration from it and using those principles, much like big inspiration to me, John, looking at these kind of substrates that things grow in the most arid of conditions. And we can just take that as one example of how we can weave these now, you know, get off our phones and just get our hands in the ground and just start doing stuff.
Thank you very much.